Hello friends, how are you doing today? My name is Okoyemi. For those that are seeing me for the very first time, you're welcome to my YouTube channel, and I share information abroad, opportunities abroad, sponsorship abroad, scholarship abroad, and everything that can bring about a fulfillment in your relocation dream. So today I just want to discuss with you some challenges that international students have been facing in the UK. Stay tuned and stay connected with me in this community, and so that you can hear all of this information. Before I move to the full details of today's video, I just want to tell you, if you're watching me for the very first time, thank you for coming to this page. Thank you for staying and watching this video. I just want to encourage you to be part of this community by subscribing to this YouTube channel and turn on your notification bell so you can always get every information that we upload every time we do them. So guys, for my regular subscribers, you guys are the best. Thank you for always coming through to watch my videos. And for today's video, stay tuned. Let's enjoy together. So guys, this is a legal visa network making millions fleecing students. Now there has been a lot of challenges with international students and some agents that are offering invalid documents. Now this is September 2nd 2024 news from the BBC. It says a global network has fleeced students out of tens of thousands of pounds for worthless visa documents they hoped would help or enable them to work in the UK. So as you can see, the BBC investigation has found middlemen working as a recruitment agent preyed on international students who want jobs in the care industry. Now, there are different phases to today's information, as you can see on my screen. Now, thank God somebody has been found, a middleman has been found, a recruiting agent, display person, and fortunately, said the students paid up to £17,000 each for sponsorship certificates that should have been free. Now, I tell a lot of people that this sponsorship, COS, everybody wants COS, is actually free from the country, is free from the UK government. But a lot of people, in the name of greed, in the name of greed, so to say, just want to use the opportunity and sell a free document to people for £17,000. That is ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. And the truth is, out of frustration, out of I need to achieve this thing by force, out of I don't even have the right word now. People will still have to go for this opportunity, considering the exorbitant fee they are paying for the document that is meant to be free. So when they applied for skilled worker visa, their papers were rejected by the Home Office. Now, what just happened is that this agent or this middleman that is portraying himself as a recruitment agent would give these people documents that is completely invalid. You can imagine somebody sitting down in the corner of a room and reading or designing or coming up with document that looks like a legal document from the immigration office of a country, and then selling those papers for £17,000. They say we have seen documentation that shows one man, Timoraza, sold 141 visa documents, most of which were worthless, for a total of £1.2 million. Guys, that is a lot of money. That is a lot of money. See, friends, I understand when it comes to certificate of sponsorship, there could be a lot of challenges. There could be a lot of ups and downs trying to stay legal in the United Kingdom, especially if you are done with your academics and you need a document to stay legal in the country. I'll personally suggest that you embrace, you embrace post-study visa. I know it's not easy. Sincerely, guys, I know it's not easy. I understand. I have friends who are currently schooling. I have friends who are done with schooling. I have friends who just started schooling. So I understand what it takes to go through schools in the UK, considering the fact that you have to, go to school, and also you have just 20 hours to work, and you still have to pay your school fees, you have to pay your bills, and understand all of these things. But let's think about it. If you get a post-study visa, for example, and you're able to work legally, and you are comfortable, you don't see the police and your heart starts beating because you don't know if they've come for you. I think for me, it's just better to go that way than to end up losing your money and yet not getting what you're paying for. So imagine how many shifts, how many work people have embraced to raise £17,000, and yet it amounts to nothing. So he said, now, Mr. Raza rented offices and hired staff in West Midlands and promised dozens of students work in care homes and employment sponsorship. Another thing I have to say about this is that, see, when it comes to immigration to UK or even other countries, all of this immigration process, most of it you can do by yourself. Before you can get to a stage where you have to involve immigration lawyers, then it will be something quite technical and quite challenging. But as long as you have every document that is required for relocation, you don't really need a third party to help you with your immigration process. You can do all of it by yourself. Now, imagine somebody just standing up, opening the office, getting an office, and then start selling sponsorship, start making £17,000 from each person. Imagine £1.2 million from just 141 people. That's a lot of money. Somebody said, I'm trapped here. After being spoken to, through the BBC, 17 men and women have lost thousands trying to obtain work visa. 3 of the students, all women in their 20s, paid out a total of £38,000 to different agents. Now, imagine that's about 14,000 or 12,000 pounds thereabout from each person. Yeah, about 12,500 thereabout from each person. Now, personally, I imagine the amount of work these people would have done to raise this money to stay legal in the UK. It's a lot of money. So guys, all of the information you're seeing here tonight is to let you know that you don't need a third party. You don't need a third party. As a matter of fact, COS is meant to be free. COS, we're going to talk about possible ways around this before or by the end of this video. We're going to share some overview of possible outcomes from this, possible solutions with these routes just to avoid ways to avoid all of these conditions. Now, the government widened the net for recruitment by allowing international applicants, leading to a boom in interest from the likes of India, Nigeria, and the Philippines. Now, applications must have an eligible sponsor. That is the meaning of sponsorship. You need to have an eligible sponsor. Now, what makes a sponsor eligible is that the sponsor is registered with the UK government, and is the name of the organization or the company is on the licensed list on the UK government website. That is the meaning of eligible sponsor. So I'm mentioning this so that people or anybody coming across this kind of information or this kind of personalities would be able to ask them, what is the name of your company? Then you can go ahead. Now, the challenge a lot of people face is they are too, do I say reluctant, or they are too lazy, or they are too engrossed, engaged to sit down with the list of the eligible sponsors and check if the company of this person that I'm giving my money to is even on the list. Now, it's wrong in the first place, but on the other hand, if they have checked if this person is on this licensed sponsor list, then it will have been it would have been better for them, because they would have known, no, this person is not on the list, and it would have saved the person a lot of stress. Now, the sudden opening of this route has been exploited by middlemen taking advantage of students looking to work full-time. If I am a student as well, I would be looking forward to how to work full-time. As you know, as a postgraduate student now, like after finishing school, now you need to work on your post-study leave, you need to work full-time. So you will want, of course, you don't want to stay illegal, which is a good one. You don't want to be illegal in the country. So I understand that. So you also want to find a full-time job, so you can, sort yourself and live a better life in the UK. So he said, although the students we spoke had made great attempts to remain in the UK legally, they now face being sent back to their country of origin. Now let's look at this. Choosing between being sent back to your country of origin and embracing post-study, which one do you think is better? Sincerely yours, I would believe that post-study is still better. Now, one of the advantage of post-study is that I understand a lot of people, it's normal, people feel okay because it's not part of your 5 years period to get your ILR. It's not your post-study period is not part of your your ILR period. Okay, so your ILR, it takes 5 years to get ILR. If you study for 1 or 2 years, it doesn't count in the 5 years. Then if you get another post-study visa, even if it is 2 years, that 2 years is still not part of your ILR counting. So it means that you have not yet started counting your ILR stay, which is quite understandable. But guys, this is the advantage of post-study visa now. Now, post-study visa will allow you to work in the UK after schooling. Another advantage is that work you are doing is automatically giving you the UK work experience that you need for jobs in the UK. Now, UK government, UK employers love or embrace your work experience. They deal or embrace more of work experience, and that is why they would embrace somebody with work experience than somebody who doesn't have, even though that every of these employer will still train you to suit their own need or to suit the standard of the organization. So it will still help you on the long run to meet up with working in the UK after your post-study. Now, most of the companies that would employ you during your post-study, most of these companies, haven't worked with them for 1 year or two, they would be willing to hand over or give you the certificate of sponsorship because they know you are now you are now part of the company. You already have the experience they need to work. They don't need to get somebody else from somewhere and start going to the training process again. Then they prefer to give you. So it means that staying back with your post-study gives you an edge, gives you assurance that okay, I will still definitely have to get sponsorship. Now, this is also what you can discuss with your employer. I would need certificate of sponsorship after my post-study visa expires. Now, before then, you can work with 1 or 2 employers. It's not wrong, it's allowed. You can work with 2 employers, and one of these employers will be willing to give you by that time. And if they say they will give you, most of these employers are faithful to their words. They are going to give you the certificate of sponsorship. So I feel that this is quite better than being a victim of deportation. Now, victims calls blocked. Now imagine somebody who has taken money from people. He says Nadia, 21 and from India, arrived in the UK in 2021 on a study visa to complete a BA in computer science. After a year, she decided to look for a job instead of paying tuition fees of 22,000 a year. A friend gave her the number of an agent who told Nadia he could provide the correct document needed for care work for £10,000. As a matter of fact, no, this is just my own analogy. If you could afford £10,000 to get a document, that could also be a part payment or a deposit for your tuition fee. If you have said you want to study, why not just calm down and study for a year? Then you can proceed with staying legal in the UK, looking for certificate of sponsorship from a licensed employer. So there could have been errors from the end of the student or the international student. There could have been an error from their end, but please, I am sharing this video so that anyone in the UK who is a student, or if you are a student watching this, or students who are going through this, they can also learn from this information, so they don't want to be victim of being sent back home. But please let them watch this video and also learn that it's better to get your post-study visa than to be a victim of being sent back home having the wrong document. Now it says a friend gave her the number of an agent who told Nadia he could provide the document needed for care work for £10,000. She said the agent made her feel at ease and even told her she reminded him of his own relatives. He told me, I won't charge a lot of money from you because you look like my sister Nadia, who lives in Wolverhampton, said. Now, she paid him £8,000 upfront and waited for 6 months for a document to arrive that stated she had worked at a care home in Warsaw. I directly called the care home and asked about my visa, but they said they didn't provide any certificate of sponsorship because they already had full staff. Nadia said the agent blocked Nadia's call and she was advised to go to the police, but she told BBC she was too scared. Now imagine, this is actually a challenge, or whereby you end up becoming a terrible victim. Imagine somebody who duped you of your fund and is telling you to call the police. That effrontery. Your £8,000 is gone, call the police. Now you do yourself more harm than good by actually going through this process, because 1, you can't get your money back. 2, you can't report yourself to the police. Okay, if you report your situation to the police, what if the police can't connect with the person or can't get the person? It's a lot of stress and hula baloo in the whole thing, and you would definitely be putting yourself into a big mess, a big trouble with that as well. So please guys, let's learn from this. I don't want us to be a victim of challenges like this. I really want everybody, as a matter of fact, I understand everybody left their country to seek greener pasture, and I pray that the greener pasture we're looking for will not be a dry land for us, so to say. So please, you can tell your friends it's better to get your post-study leave quietly, calmly and legally than to pay an agent your hard-earned money and yet you lose the document and you still lose your stay as a legal migrant. Now looking forward, this says Nadia, who is living in Birmingham, said her family believed investing in a life in the UK would allow her to gain skills and earn more than in India, which is actually true. It is possible, depending on the person's situation. You are meant to earn more skill or no more in the UK. Now I say my father-in-law was in the army. He trusted me with all his savings. He said she's visited the training agency in Wolverhampton to switch her student visa to a care worker one. The agents were very polite, she said. She showed emails, letters, and copies of visa to prove their legitimacy. Nadia and the other students were totally convinced the men were going to change their lives. The way in which they first met us, it's godlike. That's how much they win over our trust, she said. She paid £15,000 for a document that ended up being worthless and rejected by the Home Office, having spent £15,000 of her family's money on her studies. Nadia said her life had been destroyed. Those scammers are still roaming free today. They have no fear. Now, this is what I'm trying to say. These guys can go scot-free. If you only have their phone number, you might not be able to trace them with their phone number alone. If you have their office, if they pack up their office, you might not be able to trace them. So please, guys, I want to beg you, please, in my own opinion, instead of wasting funds or coming to study and then changing your mind, and then you want to get document, and then you end up doing yourself more harm than good, and then going back to your home country instead of getting post-study. Please just embrace post-study. Please avoid trouble for yourself. Please, I'm just begging you, avoid trouble for yourself and just embrace post-study. Please, I don't want anybody to be a victim of this anymore. I know these guys are still much out there, but you have to be careful, because they will always be there. They will always be there. No matter how much of effort are put in place to get these people down, they would still be there. So guys, I'm just making this video so you can learn from this information. You can imagine another 86 students lost thousands. Imagine each person paying 10 to 20,000 pounds to about 1.2 million and all of that. And that is just the story here. It is so disheartening that people just lost money. International students basically are the ones who are victim of this. They just fall victim. Students age 18 said he was recruited to work for Mr. Raza after he paid him 16,000 pounds for a care worker visa. You can imagine, he became an employee to the same person. He was among 6 people who paid 500 pounds to 700 pounds a week, compiling paperwork and filling in forms for applicants. You can imagine, that's what they pay him. He was paid to become an employee for this person. Now, he said Mr. Tin said Mr. Raza rented offices and even took his team on whole expense trip to Dubai. Imagine spending hard-earned money made by international students with the hope of living a comfortable life and doing trip to Dubai, whole expenses trip to Dubai. His suspicious arose in 2023 April when he noticed applications were being rejected by the Home Office. Some included his friends who paid a total of 40,000 pounds. I told Raza, he said to me, your brain isn't made for stress. Let me handle the stress. I didn't live as I needed the money. He said, I got stuck in such a bad situation. Mr. Tin said his boss was working with numerous agencies, so the figure of 1.2 million is likely to be much higher. So it means that this is not even actually the final or the total money that was discovered. It could be much more higher. So guys, please avoid being scammed. It is better to use the 10,000 pounds to remain in your country and believe 10,000 pounds, I'm sure it's going to build you a good house, or let me say a manageable or a comfortable house, and you can still feed yourself, than to come and be living illegally and just avoid trouble. It's better to stay in your country than to try to relocate and then falling victim of fake recruiters and all of that. So please, this video is just to encourage somebody out there.